But yeah, let's get into this. I want to start by saying two things. I have two anecdotes that I want to run by you. The first one, so I was at the gym on Monday, which was like one of like riding the high of Friday's workout. Monday was also a really good workout, right? Because I've been starting with the club bells, moving into like that's how I warm up my shoulders and my wrists and my arms and everything, and then I move into usually chest and then everything else, just everything else. So I was on the Smith machine and I saw this one dude behind me on the ground doing push-ups. He was basically doing a push-up and then onto his like fingertips and then back into a push-up. But he wasn't like on his fingertips doing the push-up. He would do a flat palm and then raise the
PP.
fingertips. So I was like, okay, cool. I understand what this guy's doing. I do my workout. I turn back around. Brothers doing muscle ups on the rack, and I'm like, I have not seen somebody else do calisthenics in front of me since college, which was 5+ years ago when I was back in my college gym. And it got me so excited. I like got into his like mirror like field of view and I was like just going like this. I was like, let's fucking go. Good shit. And then I turned back around and I did my workout. Didn't do anything else after that. And then like after my workout, I walked up to him, took my earbuds out, and I was like, so how long you been doing calisthenics? So we just got to chatting. Cool dude and everything, right? So that interaction was like, first of all, amazing. And when I told my wife about it, she was like, "You could not pay me to have that kind of interaction with somebody, especially in a gym. Like, sure, if I'm at a gym and somebody comes up and talks to me, that's fine. You could not pay me to go up and talk to somebody like that." And I'm like, honestly, I wouldn't either. With all of the people lifting 2 to 3 plates in front of me around me, but a dude doing calisthenics, he's like kin. Um, so that was cool. Just randomly talking to a person, practicing that muscle.
Dude, it's definitely a very different community. It's a very different community. It's not
Yeah.
the meathead bro. It's
Yep.
not the freaking guy. It's not the guys that Planet Fitness had to make a lunk alarm to deter.
Mhm. Yeah, dude, like and I mean, I think it's just interesting because we always there's a dude at the gym who comes in after the work day and he'll lift and I think he's working on or he has achieved like 4 plates on each side. I think he's, working on more because he's into powerlifting. But, like, when he's on a rack, people are just gonna stand there and watch because he's lifting crazy weight. Like, that is an insane amount of weight to even fathom being on somebody's body and then moving it up and down. But then when someone's up there doing, like, on a fucking rack, just doing a muscle up, I'm like, that's what I gravitate towards. Um, but, I also don't know and I always wonder, like, I would like to ask people, like, does that ever seem, like, weird or awkward to, like, witness in person, right? Like, somebody doing like, I used to practice dragon flags and, like, pistol squats and front levers and everything like that just at a normal gym, and I always wonder from, like, normal gym goers, is that, like, weird to see somebody doing that?
Oh,
Are they doing too
absolutely.
much? Are they trying to be extra? Are they trying to are they attention seeking, etcetera?
Yes, that is exactly how they view it. 100%. 100%.
Interesting.
Yep. Because they're pieces of shit.
Fair,
Because they're
fair.
that's the answer. Because they're pieces of shit.
Yeah.
So what I've found is there's a humility that comes with like weight training is neurologically easy.
Mhm.
What I mean by that is you don't need to cultivate humility. You don't. If you like, especially if you're using machines, you're using guidance, you're using like spotters, like you don't
Right.
need to cultivate humility. Calisthenics inherently cultivates humility.
Mhm.
So, like, it's always, a lot of it is in stillness, a lot of it is in connection, a lot of it is in breath work, a lot. Yeah, like you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
with weight training, you can just grunt and grunt your way through it.
Grunt and
Um,
push really, but
You
Yeah. So
shouldn't, but like that's how most people get through it. So
right.
that's why I find like the calisthenic community is much more accepting, much
Mm-hmm.
more um like I see you found your way.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Whereas weight training is very much there's like, oh, there's really only 3 lifts. Like power lifters are the worst people.
Yeah.
They
Yeah. I
know
mean,
3 exercise, deadlift, squat, press. That's it.
exactly. When I was asking this guy, I was like, "How long you been in calisthenics?" He's like, you know, I used to do it more, but I haven't done it recently. But I used to box since I was 10. I kid you not. This has been a thing since college. Every single time I've ever walked up to somebody and said, "So how long have you been working on this skill or been working on in this discipline or whatever?" Probably 7 to 8 times out of 10, they apparently were used to be in the martial art field growing up and or trained, or gymnast growing up and or trained. Literally, those are the only two things.
Yeah.
I have almost rarely ever come across somebody who said, "Oh yeah, I just liked it and I picked it up like me," who had neither training and was just like, "You know what? Let's just choose. Let's just work on it and see what happens."
There's a reason why. And again, I do think it comes back to humility. Most martial arts, especially, the more ancient it is, not like a Tiger Schulman's of just like in the nearest strip mall, or like the
Mhm.
Krav Maga that's just the closest retired cop who still wants to beat the shit out of, people. Like
Jeez.
outside of that, most martial arts are grounded in humility. And they're three-dimensional, and it's all about like body awareness.
Right.
So like it's a very natural progression,
Mhm.
because it's, to be frank, weightlifting is not mentally as stimulating.
This is why I have to I listen to podcasts in the gym and people are like, how can you do that? I'm like, I'm literally just putting a weight up and putting it back down. Mentally, my mind is not here. It
Yeah.
is not hard to do. Um, what's hard to do, like I actually this time, because usually like the flow that I've been doing with the club bells has been just the normal, just raise, twist, and like move. But I was using one of your videos, one of the first ones, which was more of a strict like raise,
Yeah,
pause,
like
then lower. Exactly. So I was trying with that one, and that took a lot of like brain power to be like, okay, my right hand can do this, my left hand can do this.
and now can they
Okay,
do it
now
at the
now
same
now now can I
time?
now can I do this together? Can I reverse it? Because usually what I would do is, if I was doing one this way, I'd do the other one this way, and then do like the
Yeah.
spin thing or whatever. Yeah, that one
Yeah.
exactly. And so, and going one way it works, and then going the other way, I'm like, this is taking exponentially greater brain power to do. Um, But yeah, it takes a lot more. Like I start sweating because I'm finally using my brain. Otherwise, I don't sweat when I work out.
Yeah.
If I'm just lifting, which is interesting. But the second thing is, same day on Monday, I was listening to a podcast, as I do, and they said something that that resonated with me, and I wanted to bring it up. It's basically around goal setting, right?
Mhm.
And it's Dr. Mike Isertel. He's a sports scientist, um, and he was essentially working through all the different facets of like setting goals, what it does to your brain, why some people are aggressively anxious and overachieving, why some people aren't, etc. How to structure and set goals to like optimize for not having the pitfalls of burning out or feeling it too easy. But one thing he said was interesting. He said, if you historically, say if you're an adult now, and let's go back to your childhood or your teens, if you always accomplished everything you set out for yourself. Your goals were always too easy. They never really challenged you to like try, but you set a goal and you hit it pretty easily. You have a very low threshold for um the the dissonance or like the gap between an actual goal that's hard for you and the amount of work that you have to put in. Like you don't understand how much work that is. And therefore, more often than not, when you get into setting higher and higher goals for yourself and you don't achieve them, you start to really like self-deprecate, self-berate, like all that stuff, right? So it's really interesting because, listening to that, it made me think like childhood really wasn't that hard in terms of the goals that I was setting because they were all academic and they were really hard. And so now when I'm trying to set certain goals for myself, I'm realizing that okay, the specific goal that I'm aiming towards is so aggressively high, and I've never done any sort of I've never replicated that level of work to get to that type of goal ever.
Mm,
So I don't know. And so every time I think I'm working hard enough, nothing's happening, I'm like, I'm going nowhere. Whereas, you know, set mini goals, set your checkpoints, etc., and work towards the checkpoints and see how much work it takes to get to each checkpoint and get past it, you'd see that you're actually achieving a decent amount at each checkpoint on your way to the goal, and you are still moving forward, moving there. You're not feeling stagnant. Um, but that was interesting because I struggle with the anxious part of it, right? Like, am I doing enough? Am I not? I've worked harder than I ever have before. Is it working? Is it not working? Should I stop? That kind of stuff. Because I don't understand what success is for me,
mm.
right? I don't see success like very binary or very like easily. Like a lot, like very few things in life that I'd be like, this was a success, this was a success, and it would also probably be much later. In the moment, I'm very unappreciative of any sort of achievements, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I wanted to pose that like just thing to you, but I also wanted to ask you, what does um success mean to you?
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to make sure. I was like, I wasn't sure if we start. Okay, you can edit this part out.
No, no, no. You're fine. You're
Um,
fine. Yeah.
so yeah, I feel like success, the way we've been programmed, the way we've been taught, we've been groomed essentially. Success is a moving target, and it feels for me, and it's not a healthy thing, but it feels like an impossibility
Mm-hmm.
because to your point, like it's interesting about a sports psychologist of um I always felt like the if the game isn't rigged, I'm going to find a way to win it.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and there's a I had to look for a word because there isn't a word in the English language that really fully captured what I feel, what I sense. But like I don't even believe in a lot of aspects of my life. I don't even believe that what I want is for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not meant for me to have.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And is that stubborn or is that stupid? And yet I keep going even though I don't necessarily have the hope that should drive that behavior.
Right.
Right? So there is a Finnish word, and it means, like, strictly translating, it just means to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the contextual, from what I understand, the contextual meaning of the word is to go in spite of.
Mm.
And so it's like still showing up for yourself even when you don't even, is there a destination at the end of this? Is there a point I'm going to arrive at?
Mm-hmm.
And if success is arriving, I don't know if I'll ever find it.
Yeah.
So it's taken me a long time because, like, I am not someone who can appreciate the wins in the moment. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been something that's easy for me, and something
Yeah.
that, like, my wife and I, like, we try and go for walks very often, and um we'll just wrap our day with, what was a win today? What are you grateful for? What do you cherish about me? And what is something you're looking forward to? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
those four simple questions, because, and it's always hard for me to answer what's a win for today.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't do anything today. I
Yeah.
did all the things I typically do. I did all the things that need to get done. But,
Yep.
like, is there a win? And, like, that's usually the one that gets me stuck. And it's because of this Finnish word is sisu, 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 to go, just go in spite of. And what is success? Who the hell knows? What does it look like? Who the hell knows? But I'm not
Mhm.
gonna stop hunting it.
Mhm.
And there is a like a success in that journey.
Mhm.
It's just really hard to feel when like the going gets tough,
Yeah.
when you're not seeing the progress, when you're not having the tangible like back pats, or even when the back pats don't like, I have like ribbons for my
Mhm.
books.
And they come, you know, not infrequently.
Yeah, and not in light competition.
Right.
And in the receiving of them, it's a numbness. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I said I was going to write a book. I wrote a book. I figured it was good. Worked on it until I knew it was objectively good. So
Mhm.
yeah, a good book should win awards, right? And it
Mhm.
just should. It's not a matter of like, that's what I expect of myself. So that moving target just keeps climbing higher and
Yeah.
higher to the point that um, I don't always, it's very easy to, when you keep trudging up the mountain 1 foot at a time, and you're so focused on your next step and your next step and your next step, and you never stop to admire the view of how far you've climbed. um it's very easy to get lost in the tedium of
Mhm.
next foot, next foot, next foot.
Yeah.
But that is also what sisu is.
Yeah.
It's a Sisyphean journey. I am pushing the boulder uphill. I don't know if the mountain ever stops.
Mhm. Well, yeah, people they say that's like the founder's curse, or like the overachiever's curse of like I've finally hit the peak of this mountain, and then you look over and there's like 50 other mountains higher than you that you're like, fuck, I have to hit those peaks now too, because you can't stop at this peak, knowing there's a higher peak in front of you. Um, the thing you said about what was it? 'Cause there's so many things in there. But I think it was the just thinking that like, oh, this is expected to happen because this is, I did this objectively, therefore this objective this result makes sense, right? I did this cause, therefore this effect makes sense. And I do that way too often. My wife's been trying to get me to be a bit more appreciative, which I'm like, I have no clue how to be appreciative to that extent. I'm just like, this is cool. Next.
Yeah.
This is cool.
And
Next.
it's
And
it's kind of sad, right? Like,
yeah.
to not be able to celebrate. And this is something that like, you know in therapy, it's been like, why don't you allow yourself to
Mhm.
celebrate your victories? And it usually comes down to like, someone in your life also didn't celebrate theirs, so of
Right.
course they weren't going to celebrate yours. So then
Mhm.
you learned that nothing is worth celebrating. And it always is so poignant to me when I see someone who celebrates everything. And part of me, I look like there's like this part of me that looks down at that and
Mhm.
goes like, get a participation trophy for everything, and
Yeah.
celebrate everything. And then there's this other part of me, and I think this, like, what part of you is true and what part of you is not. I think the true part of me looks at that and goes, oh my god, like, I'm so jealous of that.
Yeah.
The fact that this there's a childlike wonder,
Mhm.
and it's easy to look at that from the mountaintop and with look at your naivety. And
Mhm.
yet the journey that it took me to get here, because I don't do what you do, has been so much darker
Yeah.
than yours. Even if you're not as high, you feel like you've achieved so much more than I ever will, and I'm so jealous of that.
I think that's what it comes down to, right? Because really, like, our peak is where we feel the peak is, right? Or our journey is where we feel it. So if we're unable to feel the achievement, there is none, because
Yeah.
everything is subjective. Everything is a figment of our own reality. And to your point, yeah, like my in-laws, they love celebrating birthdays and anniversaries and all that stuff, and they'll get like little cakes and they'll do cards, and like my family stopped celebrating birthdays way earlier because my sister and I never wanted to celebrate it with like cakes and things like that, right? Like mom would cook us a special, like mom would cook at home, so we'd get like the homemade dish that we both like. Okay, so that was like our way to celebrating, right? But no candles, no cakes, no pastries, no singing. Also, because we just didn't like any of that, and so I started to like, this was a point in time when I was in the treat everybody else how you would want them to treat you. So I don't care about people ever um, saying happy birthday to me and all that stuff. So I rarely also said it to other people. And then I started to very, very aggressively devalue my birthday in the sense like, oh, this is a celebration of like my birth. I'm like, that doesn't matter. I would rather celebrate something else worth a celebration. Like, and an actual achievement is the way I thought about it. And when I started dating my now wife, there were many times when she was like, "Oh, well, I want to do something for your birthday." I was like, "You don't have to do anything for my birthday. I don't care. You don't even have to give me a gift. I couldn't give a fuck because whatever you give me as a gift, we can get it the next month or the month after that or the month before. Like it does not matter." Um, and then she's different. She likes the celebration. She likes the going out and stuff. Recently on TikTok, I've found success talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl for like no reason. First of all, no reason, but people love that fucking book. But so it's nice that I can read a book that I also enjoy without thinking I'm selling out because I'm not reading Throne of Glass or Akatar. And I can talk about it, and people actually like. There's always somebody commenting something on a video, whether it's about the audiobook or the book, or the easiest comment is, I'm on this book. Oh, just wait until just wait, it gets better. Just wait, it gets better. I'm like, I just read that like and keep going. But, follower count goes up. And TikTok has always been, because I've never done well on social media in my life. So TikTok, the number of followers on TikTok has always been my all-time high. Every single person that comes in always gets me to an all-time high. And so hit 1,500 yesterday, which is cool. I was like, okay, cool, that's dope, right? High five. Boom. And I told my wife that. She's like, oh my gosh, should we celebrate? I'm like, no, but like, it's cool. Um, we'll talk about it when I hit something else. Just because I was like, I mean, it's just such a measly number compared to the people that I want to emulate and get to their level. Like the peaks that I'm looking at, such a measly number. Um, that I'm like, it's hard to appreciate it because once again, also not a ton of effort went into it. Because the videos that do well are the videos that are like this with really bad audio and on my phone. The videos that I do with my mic and on my camera and color graded and have this nice background and stuff, super low, right? So no effort goes into that result. Therefore, it does not feel like an achievement. I think that's the second thing, right? Is like the amount of appreciation I would feel for an achievement is proportional to the amount of effort that I would have put in trying to get it.
Mm.
Like I don't feel value in something that was easy to get.
So what about something that you did work for and did achieve and did feel like, all right, this was hard and I did this thing. Does it any different? Or do you immediately diminish the accomplishment?
It depends because I've done both in the past. Like um I don't know, my first time getting 1,000 view video on YouTube, I was like, oh, that's sick. But then the back of my head, I was like, okay, are these like bots? Like, are these actual people? Like, there's no comments or likes, but there's views. And I'm like, I don't know if like these are real people watching it, or are they just like bots that have found the account? I do pay somebody to do the SEO and stuff like that for just because I can't wrap my brain around it. I'm like, and there's this small little nugget in my brain which is so self sabotage, and I have to talk myself out of it. I'm like, did they like rig this to make it seem like it's working so I keep continuing to pay them to continue doing it? There's a part of my brain that says that because it can't just accept that maybe this worked. Because why
Yeah.
did none of the other ones work that I put so much effort into, but this one did, right? there is no logic to that result. There is no expected level of effort results in expected level of output. Therefore, I can't wrap my brain around, okay, why this one? Because I don't know how to replicate something that's like a one off.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And with content creation, like even the experts, uh, no one people there's trends. I
yeah.
there's things that all of these um viral videos have in common. And the accounts that explode and the accounts that do really well, there are trends of
Mhm.
things that they do, but even amongst their videos where they follow the same hook, if it's the same video
Mhm.
posted on the same time, a different day, same time, there's almost no telling. So like for me, um there's a desire
Right.
for effort in, effort out equal.
Mhm.
Like it's merit. I like and this probably shows in my books. Like I want justice, equality,
Mhm.
fairness. That's what I want. And so when things don't feel that, like I climbed, if I put one foot in front of the other, and this mountain is this number of feet high, and I put my foot in front of the other that many times, I climbed it. It's fair.
Yeah.
What's When things don't abide by that type of merit, legal, like currency, it's really hard for me to wrap my brain around it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the shit part is, it's also really hard for me to even when it is like, all right, this mountain is 8,000 feet, 9,000 feet, 10,000
Yeah.
feet. I climbed all of those said feet. um yeah, but and I like, it's interesting, like you seem to, like, your go-to is to compare, like, to other
I
people.
have a really bad comparison bias that I've been working on for years. But yeah, really bad comparison bias.
So like, I it's less, there is some of that, don't get me wrong, but I'd say like my first go-to is less comparison based and more of like, yeah, but that's what I expect of myself.
Right.
And it's more of me versus me, and me is an ass sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like capitals, I don't even have S's. I have dollar signs, like, and
Mhm.
7 of them is my S's, like ass. Like it's
Yep.
but I do think that, bringing it back to, what is success and how do you define it? Um, I think it's relative, and it always is. And I do think there's a degree of it always should be relative. Um, but it should be relative to your own heart,
Mhm.
not others. Because like the world isn't fair, life isn't fair. And to expect that and to want that so hard that you will just be disappointed. And for what?
Mhm.
Um, and celebrating, I am jealous, and I have to actively try to celebrate my accomplishments. And like, it's interesting for my wife and I, because she's a, like, on an enneagram, she's a 3, she's a high achiever. Like that is,
Mhm.
like, that's what gives her the most, like, um and that's not me. I'm like a 1. I'm the
Yeah.
reformer. I want to see, like, this has potential. I want to see it achieve that full potential. Whatever that is capable of, I want that at its peak. And that lends itself really well to the technical craft of what I do, right? Both in fitness and diagnostics, like looking at the efficiency of how bodies move.
Yep.
That's helpful in books, and looking at story structure, and helping authors to, I see what you're trying to do. I want you to achieve it at the level that it possibly can.
Yeah.
um and so like, it's helpful in that regard, because I wing enneagram to a 2, a helper.
Mm.
I want to help others achieve their fullest potential, because that makes my world feel better. It makes me feel like I'm making the world better. But even when I do, I don't celebrate. I will celebrate their wins for them, but I won't keep it for myself. That cup has a
Mhm.
hole in the bottom, and it's
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much easier for me to be like, "Let's fucking go to somebody else," and I will and I that those 3 words come out of my mouth so fast when anybody does anything like when my I think it was a year maybe last year when my friend, she got proposed to and everything, and you know, when me and my wife were going out to dinner, but she sent us, like, a little screenshot, of, like, the ring and everything. She was like, "Not official, but wanted to send it to you first." I was still in the car, and I was like, "Hey, step outside, I need to send something real quick," and I voice recorded just, "Let's fucking go!" Just, like, a really loud message, and she responded back saying, "I told him that this is exactly what you would say this is exactly what you would say." So, 100% biggest supporter to everybody else. Everybody else deserves everything they're getting because 'cause they're putting in so much work, and I'm like, "I can see the work you're putting in, and you're getting it, and you're getting up there." But I can't look in the mirror and say, "Arish, you're doing so much good work and you're getting there. You're doing it. You're doing something." You know, whatever it is, because it's like, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything. Did I, you know, I started doing content creation because I was like, I wonder how the people that I watch online feel.
Mm.
What issues do they go through? What positives do they go through? Like when everybody talks about the mental issues of content creation and stuff, I'm like, I don't understand it.
So
So
did you get
what is it
into
like?
content as a thought experiment?
Yes. So
That was the most honest answer. That was
I
so.
I I I've been doing social experiments and thought experiments since I was in high school. Like the first concept of a social experiment was me going to school not saying anything and seeing who would talk to me if I'd never talked to anybody, to see like which friends or anyone would ask me how I'm doing, if I'm okay, you're not talking, etc. Would anybody pick up on the fact that I exist? Like the invisible experiment. Decent amount of people did, decent amount of people didn't, depending on who it was, you know, your proximity to them, what classes you have, etc. And I would do that almost every year, at least once a year, to see. Learned a lot. You know, I didn't like burn any bridges in terms of friends or things like that because of it, but I learned a lot, like which friends would actually reach out to me if I never reached out to them. Because that's like a big thing that I've noticed with today's society of like, oh, I'm putting in so much effort on this one-sided friendship and I don't know if I like it or not. So I'm gonna stop because they're not putting in effort. And that's a whole nother topic. But that was the first one. And then in college, my next thought experiment was my buddy sent me a muscle up video. And he was like, "You want to try this?" I was like, "It'd be cool to get a muscle up." I had no clue what calisthenics was back then, by the way. I never worked out as a kid. I never trained. I trained maybe the senior year of college, of high school, in like the high school gym before class. I vomited one time because I ran after drinking a protein shake. Like I was really, I had no concept of anything, but I was like, sure, let's try it. So then calisthenics itself was like a thought experiment. And then it'd be cool to get an internship in the firm that I want to work for. So like any thought experiment that I've done now or any sort of like thing that I've gotten into has I've noticed this as a trend of like it always is preceded with it would be cool if or it would be cool too or I think it'd be cool if and then we'll just try and see, which is why I know I have like a high ego because every time I have said one of those things I have more often than not achieved it in some capacity. um so I have a very high ego. Very low. I have zero expectations for myself, but a very high ego, which really doesn't mesh well. But yes, I do a lot of things based on like yeah, it'd be cool if and like if I have the idea, I'm like let's just try it out, see what happens. But then I get too attached or detached.
Mm.
But yeah, what about
Hmm.
you?
Why did I get into content?
Mm.
Like pure necessity.
Yeah, well, for you it's for you it's marketing.
Pure
Um,
necessity.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah. The thought was, I don't want to.
yeah, exactly.
And so, oh, let's do it with my first content, right? My first content was writing the book. That's not even true. My first content was I was in a band, Um, the band, I wrote the music, I wrote the songs, I wrote the lyrics. And me, it was my best friend from college, my best friend from high school. Uh, we found a drummer who was my brother's friend who knew how to play the drums. And we were a four-piece band, and we had written a couple songs, we were jamming, and um, our drummer, who he was older than us. Like if we were 19, he was like 25, 26. So
Mhm.
he was just like, y'all children, like you're gonna get your act together. I signed us up for a battle of the bands.
Mm.
We have 2 months.
Yeah.
Um, the challenge with that was we were away at different colleges,
Ooh, that's tough.
6 hours apart. So this contest took place about an hour from like where we lived, another hour the opposite direction from where the one kid went to college, and then 4 hours from where me and my college roommate went to college. Uh, so this triangulation of trying to get together, and it was like we were practicing on our own.
Yeah.
Um, we were writing on our own, and then we'd get like if the show was on a Saturday for the Battle of the Bands, and it was one like every month for like 3 months.
Mhm.
Um, we would come home Friday night from like drive from school, get home, practice until our like we wanted to die.
Yeah.
Um, and then go do the Battle of the Bands. And we there was over like 160 bands at this one place. And there was like the top 10 would get to play Bamboozle. Now Bamboozle was at like in the Meadowlands at Giant Stadium. Like it was
Mm.
it's a big show.
Yeah.
Um, big stages, real acts, like
Yeah.
big headliners. So we were like, it'd be cool. It'd be cool. But like
Yeah.
we had no, it was our first show. Our first show was this Battle of the Bands. We were like, this will be fun. And my only experience with performance at that point was like athletics.
Mhm.
So once again, effort in, effort out. You practice
Mhm.
hard, you'll play hard. You play hard, you win. If you practice harder than the next guy and you play harder than the next guy, you have a chance. And sometimes
Yep.
talent is just talent, right?
Yep.
But you give yourself a chance. So we and my the drummer and our lead singer and guitarist, they were like musicians, right?
Mhm.
Me and my friend, we're just idiots. We're just idiots who
Fair.
said, let's try it.
Yep.
And but we worked really hard.
Mhm.
And we came in third place for the out of 160 bands in our first three shows. And that was really cool. But at the same time, it was like, well, it's just because we treated it like a business.
Yeah.
We treated it like a sport.
Yep.
And we showed up and we practiced and we worked and we got it because we took ourselves seriously. And everyone
Mhm.
else is like, you know, showing
Yeah,
up
have
late,
fun, just trying to mess around, yeah.
unorganized, having fun. We treated it like a job.
Mhm.
So achievement and treating it like a job kind of went
Went
hand in
hand in hand.
hand.
Yeah.
Which is both like, so we had this really like one of my favorite experiences. Like I got to play on stage at Bamboozle on the stage of some of my favorite bands that I grew up watching, and like listening to and like still listen to. Um, I got that experience when I was 19. It was so cool.
Mhm.
Um, and then that like as most bands do, they fall apart. And so I wasn't talented enough as a musician to by myself bring to life what I heard in my head.
Mhm.
And that's why I went into writing, because I was like, I can do it by myself.
Right. Exactly.
I don't need anyone else. No one can quit on me. And it's just a matter of
Mhm.
how much effort I put in.
Yep.
But like I never planned on publishing.
Mhm.
It was just for me.
Mhm.
And So like that was my first content. Like we recorded an EP. Like we have a 5-song thing. It was on iTunes and Spotify and that kind of stuff. It's not anymore. It's still available on the internet somewhere, but like the stuff that's this this is 2011, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but like creating content, like the first active social media was trying to sell tickets for the
Yeah.
shows. The first, we have an album now, buy it. it was it was a matter of like, oh, I have
It's
to
very
be on this.
transactional, right?
I have to be on this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I I've never I say this and people get like, what is wrong with you? So in fitness, I took a certification. This is again 2012. Or like YouTube. And the guy's like, okay, when you to graduate from this certification to get your cert, you need to go through, you need to perform these exercises. You have to video yourself coaching someone. You have to go, and it's like a 15-minute thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so all right, you told me what I have to do to get the thing that I want to get, so I'm going to do it. I was like the only one who did it in
Yeah.
this whole certification that was like big. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this was all over Manhattan, all these different gyms and all these different health clubs, and it was like starting to really become popular. I was the only trainer that actually followed through and did the things that we were supposed to do. So this
Mm-hmm.
YouTube video blew up to like 250,000 views
Mm-hmm.
pretty quickly.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. And I never posted anything else again.
Yeah. Yeah, because the idea wasn't to make YouTube videos, it was make the video for the certification. So once you get the certification,
And
there's
I
no
didn't
need.
even get the certification because no one else
Oh.
did it.
That's sad.
And like the reality is in fitness, how much do certs matter? They don't.
Mhm.
But like it was just kind of like a funny like thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, content
fair.
was never something that I was like, I definitely never had a thought experiment of
Yeah.
what if I
I
make
mean,
content?
everything has been one, right? The YouTube channel was one, the podcast was the second, Fableware was the third. Right now, I started vibe coding apps as a hobby. Um, but I specifically have been telling myself this is literally something that you're doing as a hobby. You are not
Don't monetize this.
you are not doing this to the with the goal of monetizing and building a business around it, etc. Nice flashbang. Um, but uh, you know, as I did the first one, and then I had the idea for the second one, I was like, first one's just like kind of a fun thing to like a little app to like make. This second one actually does solve problems.
Hmm.
Can I do anything with it? And the idea is there. I just haven't continued to do anything with it because I'm just wanting to do other things and doing other things that I generally want to do. And then I come back to the app as like on my free time just to have fun. Um, but thought experiments are fun. I personally like them a lot. Um, but that's also because I live in my brain. Um,
But there's something very liberating about that though. When you create not for the monetization, not for the reward.
oh yeah, I think the times when I've been the happiest has been creating just for fun of creating. And even if I post it, cool. If I don't, it never sees the light of day. But I DM it to friends that I'm like, hey, yo, look at this. Those are like the best moments ever, aka all the videos that I dance in because they're absolute dog shit. But just like having like a creative video idea and just saying, okay, cool, we're gonna dance it out. Post that to my story, not even a regular post, and it doesn't fill me with any sort of anxiety, dread, upsetment, anger, anything of that. Like, oh, why didn't this, why didn't anybody watch it? Why didn't anybody like it? Why didn't anybody comment on it, etc. So I'm like, okay, that was just a fun thing to create and push it out. But you know, when I started like creating, I was like, I go back and forth with the high ego stuff, right? Because like I was like, well, you should be better at this. You can literally do everything else. Why can't you get this right? And so every time something goes wrong, I'm like, why? This is people post one video and it blows up. You have posted 1,700. Where's your blow up? Like all these things, right? And at the same time, I'm like, listen, you hated being on camera growing up, etc. You don't like talking. You're bad at talking. You don't like being, you don't have any camera presence. You don't want to be. You never wanted to be on camera. Literally, content was the start of my attempt to formalize and be good at being in front of a camera, speaking, orating, video editing, audio engineering, like, all these things, right? And it was like, okay, well, if you're a beginner in all these things, you cannot expect the result you want right off the bat.
That is so fascinating to me that you intentionally said, "What is something I don't like? What is something I have no interest in?"
No, no, facts. I've talked about this before. Literally anything that I try, it almost it spurs from it would be cool if, but the subject of that sentence is what is RS really dog shit at? Because growing up, I would always stutter and stammer, and I was shy, and I was not the most popular, but I was like a wisecrack because that's how you get attention, right? You do the one liners in class and things like that. Because I didn't want to be the four eyes and the robot who like I didn't want to be the guy who was teaching everybody how to do math and they get better exams in the test. They get better grades in the test than I do because I'm bad at taking tests, etc. Right? I didn't want to be that guy because I was that guy. I didn't want to stop being that guy. But anyways, it just so happened before I even got into these things, it was just years after when I was self-reflecting, like, you were a really scrawny, skinny kid, and people made fun of you because you were very bony. Calisthenics and weightlifting, which is a lot of what people get into. Body dysmorphia breeds lifting and trying to change your body, and then you never accept the way your body looks because you're still dysmorphic. Um, Content creation. I stammer, stutter a lot. I have no vocal presence. Um, I had to work on my fillers and all these things, right? And while I loved public speaking, because it really, really like hit my ego in a nice way.
Hmm.
That was because I prepped for it. If there were slides, you prep the slides, you prep the transitions. You're looking at somebody, and you're clicking a button, and you know exactly the 6 words that are about to transition on screen. So you just start talking, and everything lines up, and you engineer the entire experience for somebody else. That should give me a high. But you asked me to get up on do a little video like this. I freeze up. I don't know what to say. I'm stuttering. I'm stuttering. I'm stammering. I'm not good in social environments. I have a lot of social anxiety. This is a social experiment in it of itself, right? Sitting down and having a conversation with somebody and thinking they're interested in what I'm saying. I'm definitely interested in what they're saying. Can I create some sort of interesting discourse here? But it all came from like a lot of insecurities and a lot of deficiencies that I thought I
So,
had that I may have had in the past that I have gotten
but
through.
but what's fascinating within that is, we started out this conversation talking about this sports psychologist talking about if you always set goals that are in your comfort zone, of course you're not going to feel like you achieved anything when you can constantly hit them. But it
Right.
sounds like you are constantly setting goals via thought experiments in areas where you would otherwise deem yourself deficient. You're stacking the deck against you, still achieving them and still not
Still
allowing
still not
yourself.
feeling any sense of achievement. Yes, that's
Bruh.
actually very interesting. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that's just my personal growth mentality that I've always had of like, out of obviously adversity breeds growth, but and adversity and discomfort lives in adversity, and so I have to have discomfort. But the only things I'm not comfortable with are the things that I don't know. And back to the very high ego, I don't like being around things or being in things or like connecting with things that I don't know. Um, I like to know things. It gives, have you ever seen the movie Now You See Me?
Yeah.
Like the magician's one?
Yeah. Yeah.
They recently put the first and second one back on Netflix for the third one apparently supposed to release like later
There's
this
a
year.
third.
Apparently they're bringing back a third one this later this year, so I'm kind of excited to watch that. So my wife had never seen them, so we watched them again.
They're
And
good
my favorite
movies.
character in that one is actually Jesse Eisenberg, who is
Correct
aggressively
answer.
egotistical lead magician because he just likes being in control, and he feels like if he's in control, um, it also makes him feel self-important and all these things, right? But I just have found that um, I just like to know because I feel like if I know, there's less risk of something going wrong. And then I have to fix it. I have the responsibility of fixing it. It's only on me. I can't expect anybody else to fix it. Back to my zero expectation tenant that I have. I've actually like thought about this. Of like, I think one of my key tenants, or personal tenants, is holding zero expectations of myself and anybody else, which has been like this for like 3, 4 years now.
So that
Um,
is let's see if I can remember them. Um the, so have you heard of the four agreements?
Vaguely, but if I had, I forgot.
Okay, so the concept of the four agreements are like they're your word is impeccable, like valid, like have integrity with what you say.
Mm,
Um don't take things personally, assume nothing,
mm-hmm.
expect nothing, um, and always do your best. Like those are the four agreements. And it's like I was like, yeah, I can get behind that. Um, like, but assume nothing, have no expectations. I feel like um, I've this has been a point of contention between uh, my wife and I, because like I've always said, like, you know, why would you expect that of like I have no expectations of this person, like I have no,
Yeah.
and she's like, that's sad that you don't expect like even your friends to like show up for you, and it's like I don't have an answer for you. Is it sad? Probably, but like I
Probably.
don't probably, I mean, but it's definitely how I've um always been. And the way I kind of get around that is, well, there's a difference between I have no expectations and they're not going to do anything, so I'm not going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are two very different things.
Interesting.
If I ask, that's my burden of responsibility. I did
Mm-hmm.
my part. Now, if you do or do not, it doesn't matter. I did the part that I have access to. I did the part that I have control over.
Yeah.
I put myself out there. What you do with that, I have no expectation with. But
Yeah.
like I do have the expectation of myself to put myself out there.
Right.
And that is what social media is to me.
Mm-hmm.
Whether whether I get, it's always better when things get views, don't get me wrong. But like, did I show up for myself today? That's the only thing I can count on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to, measure that as success.
Right.
I only like in fitness, you talk smart goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time elapsed. Everything's a smart goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I do. But man, if it's not on me, it's not a good goal.
It's not gonna get done.
If I it and this is something that if not me, then who?
Mm-hmm.
That was like my personal mantra,
Yeah.
right? Like if I can't do it, no one can, or like no one will. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was that, you talk about ego. Like that was the headspace that I like drove myself to.
Yeah.
How hard is it? Well, if someone else can, I can.
Yeah.
If it's a matter of effort, I can do that. But it's there's good in that. There's some good, really good qualities in that.
Yeah.
There's
You
work
know,
ethic.
there.
There's holding yourself accountable. But there's some really bad stuff that comes along that piggybacks on those coattails.
Right. There are. There have been a few times when I've had to like stop myself from thinking like why aren't people supporting me? Um, when you do a new endeavor, you would think like, oh, I'm telling all my friends about it. They're gonna show up, and maybe they show up for the first one. What about the next video, the next video, and the next video, or the next event, or the next thing you put out, or the next t-shirt drop, or whatever it is, right? And it's like you can. I think that was just an exercise for me of like, don't expect people to show up, not because people are inherently bad in any way. It is simply like it is unreasonable to expect somebody to show up for you 100% of the time,
Yeah.
even if you ask them to, right? Like everybody has their own life. And so that turned into your thing of like, I'll ask, you know, this most recent podcast, the two ones that I did that I dropped recently were breaking down the book that I just read in excruciating detail. So I went like page by page, highlight by highlight, to certain like things I highlighted that I wanted to talk about. So two separate videos, collectively like 3.5 hours long, almost 4 hours long. But I don't really send my videos to people. I just post it on socials. And so if it comes across their feed, etc., whatever it is, maybe they'll like the video, put it on their story, show other people, etc. Maybe they'll actually go watch it, etc. But this one, I was like, let me just send it to the guys, which I sent it to them. I don't know if they watched it, but I sent it to them. So whether they watch it or not, it's on them. But at least I felt good that I reached out and said, I think you'd like this video, or
Yeah.
this one might be good. Um, and recently, I've had the experience of like certain friends actually, without me prompting, coming out. Like so like one of the it was funny. I was recording a podcast with somebody, and one of our mutual friends had texted me just then saying, "Hey, just checking in. How's everything going? Been seeing like you've been posting a lot more. You've been like, you've been present a lot. Like, how's that going? Etc." Just unprompted, and I was like, "Oh, this is a weird feeling. Like somebody's checking in on me,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
unprompted,
Like,
as opposed to me checking in, which is what I
what
always
what do you
do."
need? What do you want?
Exactly.
What do
Well,
you
it's honestly, it's not even that because when I check in with somebody, I'm always afraid of them expecting like or me coming across as transactional because I do see relationships as utilitarian. But uh, when somebody checks in with me, I'm like, I just don't know what to say. Like, are you checking it as a formality? Do you want like everything's good? End of the conversation. Do you want me to actually tell you how I'm feeling? Do you want to actually have a discourse about this? Like, I don't know those cues because certain people ask certain questions. I ask the same question, like, how's it going? Good. Thanks. I wasn't actually asking. I was just saying it. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
when you join your morning meeting saying, "So how was your day?" It was good. Great. Please don't
You
go into
want me to
details.
tell
I
you?
don't really care. Um, so, but regardless, I've had to like stop myself from expecting, um, you know, people to reach out, etc. People to like respond. People to watch every single video I drop. I'm like, everybody has lives. If somebody's trying to do the same thing as me, they're creating content, they're creating their own thing, they're working really hard. I don't have time to watch their stuff. I can't expect them to have time to watch my stuff, etc., right?
And that's,
So
I think that's the problem with these spaces. It's not a problem, it's just a reality.
mhm,
So like, who are the most active people on Book Talk?
the viewers
The
probably.
people creating the content.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
It's all like, and it's this circle of the people creating content interacting with the other people creating content, hoping that it'll be reciprocated and
Yeah.
hoping that like, um, and I specifically with indie authors, the indie author community is a really welcoming and cheerleading place. And there's good things about that, and there's not so good things that come with that.
Mhm.
The problem is the echo chamber of like, if we all support one another, we'll all grow. No, it's not how that works, because we are not the readers. And I know
Mhm.
that because, yes, do we read? Sure, but we don't read like readers do.
Yeah.
It's different. While we spend 200 hours like writing a book, another 200 editing a book, another 200 trying to come up with a marketing plan for that book, another like, they're reading.
They're,
There's
they're
just not enough.
spending 4 to 8 hours reading it, maybe talking about it for another 1 or 2, so collectively, 8 to 10 hour experience max. Next book.
Next book. But even beyond that, okay, if I'm spending, let's call it 800 hours, just very loose, picking a number. It takes me 800 hours to create this book. And that is in my free time outside of the job that pays me.
Mhm.
I still need to find time to eat, still need to find time to work out, still need to find time for the
Mhm.
relationships that I have. So those are how I'm spending my 800 hours, let's call it over the course of a year. Um what's going on in the readers space? They're
Yeah.
reading. Those are 800 hours of reading if we're going one to one.
Yeah.
So I also read. I read a book a month.
Yeah.
I read, you know, 12 to 20 books a year. And I feel great about that. There's people who do that in a month.
Yep.
And so I like, for indie authors to expect, like, if we support each other, high tide will raise all ships. It's I don't want to be the one to say it, but it's not true.
Mhm.
It's nice. It's not the path to success.
Yeah.
And
You
that's just,
know
it's an unfortunate reality. It's just what it is. I'm not complaining about it. I just
right.
think that, like, readers, indie authors need to find and connect with readers and have connections with a few indie
Mhm.
authors who it's like, these are my buds and I genuinely want them to succeed. I can't support all of you,
Mhm.
but there's a few. Here are my people, and I'm going
Yeah.
to pour my heart into them because that's what I actually have the capacity to do. And, like, you have a thing, what can I do to help? You have a thing, what can I do to help? And that's a small number. It's not everyone. Or it's just like, I'll give you a comment, I'll give you, like, woo, I'll give you a repost.
But like I feel like if you're one of the people who does that, you've done all you can do in general anyway, right? It's like what else can you do? Like you can't shove that video in anybody else's face. Like you can't like force 500 other people to go to watch it, to consume it. You can't like send 500 of their books to somewhere else. Like you're not doing that, and
And
you're not, and you're
and
not, and you
but
shouldn't
but
be expected
even
to.
even from the standpoint of, like, I don't have time to read it.
Right.
I hope it's good because but
Yeah.
because I like you, and we engage with each other. But and that's the challenge with, like, the indie author community. And I imagine in the content creation space, you know, who are the people that are most active? It's other content creators. If you are the ones trying to support each other, you're spending much more time thinking about, and we've talked about this before, like, your free time is spent, you know, how do I want to, like, I have this idea for a video, I want to create this, I want to, it takes away from your consumption,
Yeah.
period, versus just straight consumers.
You know, it's there's a different type of creator when they're a full-time creator, when they're a big and a small time full-time creator, and then when they're a part-time creator, right? I think one of the biggest, like, not aha moments or like vindicated moments, but it was a creator that I follow who actually, his videos when I found them in 2021 are what spurred the final desire to actually try to create the booktube in the first place. Loved his videos and everything. I think it was just last year. He's been traveling, he's been living the nomad life, etc. He's been trying to, like, he'd been on the content, the business grind for so long that he was like, I hired a trainer to do it, to like help me train. I've been trying to cook at home and all these things. And so one video he did talking about, like, it takes a lot of time to just like think about and cook yourself meals for like a week, or like, cook yourself as opposed to buying out all the time. And I'm like, why are you saying it as if you've never experienced this? And in my brain I was like, have you never experienced the fact that you have to do your own chores to the extent, and like not have an entire team around you helping you create content and all this stuff? Like, it's just the way it came off felt like I mean, it's cool that you're acknowledging the fact that people who try to become creators, like they try to do it with life itself. They don't like stop life to just know life content, because there are people who do that, and
Yeah.
some people do find success in that. But then there are people who are like, okay, I have to live my actual necessity, like basic needs life, and
And
then
then,
this as well, and then this as well. Um, which is why people say you really only have capacity for one thing at a time, right? People aren't like, and people should not be like me. If I'm up here, I advise this, everybody, do not be like me. I'm simply incapable of scrapping the three things that give me joy, which is the booktube, the podcast, and Fableware. Like, there's no way I can scrap them. There's a part of me that's always felt like, should I just scrap one and scrap two and focus on one like full time, like, and just not worry about anything else? And I'm like, nope, not doing that. Every person's advice, every successful person's advice that say this is the key to success and it works for everybody, not doing that. Um, and if I do succeed, I can be like, I didn't do that.
yeah,
Um, but back to the back to the first thing of knowing like all the work that I'm putting in, but all the time that I don't have to do something. I'm like, somebody else does not have time either.
yeah,
You can't, like, back to the core thing. Like, I don't expect anything from anybody, because like, I've done the same thing. Like, I haven't shown up for people when they've asked. I haven't been there. I haven't been proactive. I've done something. I've done some sort of work subpar. Like, I've done all these things. So if I'm capable of the same mistakes, I can't expect you to not to make the same mistakes. At the same time, I'm not gonna ask either. I'm also not gonna give you the opportunity to not show up for me if I don't think you will. So
mm,
like, um, the podcast thing was interesting when I was trying to find guests, because every now and then, you're messaging people trying to like see, and you want to bring new people on, because I want to talk to new people, and I also do want to have conversations with people that I've had on before. But I'm also thinking like, this is once a week. How, when I'm just talking to you, and it's gonna go up in a couple of weeks. Okay, how far out do I have to wait until I can like post another like video with you again? Because I don't want it to seem like, I'm just having the same people on all the time, etc. You want the variety and everything, but you reach out to people and they don't respond, or you try and get a date and then nothing's scheduled, or someone tells you, "Hey, haven't forgotten about you. We're gonna we're gonna link something up. I promise. I'm just doing a couple of things to like to tie things up." I'm like, I don't mind anything. I've stopped expecting.
yeah,
I simply reach out every few weeks. I'm like, "Yo, just let me know if you got time. I got time this month on these weeks. If they respond, cool. If they don't, I'm already working on the other people."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
To do contingencies, right? Like knowing that I held zero expectations, I work within that realm. I'm not trying to also put pressure on anybody, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be like, yo, I really need this. I have nobody else lined up. We got to do something, right? Like, nobody wants that.
No one wants that, and
Not,
it also
not
is
trying to be an
like,
ass.
is it that serious? Should it be that serious?
It's
Um,
not. It's not. But like the exact same thing you said about the band, of like taking it seriously, treating it like a
job.
business or like your homework or like something serious, is what gave you this some modicum of success and achievement, right? My dad always had this saying of, if you're going to do it right.
Yep.
Um, Same thing he told me when I was trying to buy a house. Same thing he told me when I was trying to do like I was talking to him about like Fableware and that stuff. Same thing when I told him I wanted to pay $100+ for an Etsy course online. He was like, okay, like if you want to do it, do it fully. Don't do it halfway. Which is also why I feel like that's just like part of the programming now that I have, of like, I can't stop this stuff,
Yeah.
because I could easily just say, you know what, book content just is not my thing. People don't come to me for book content. Maybe I don't portray it in the way that most people, like the general public, likes. I'm not getting to the people that I want. I could very easily say, you know what, I'm gonna not pursue this in an aggressive fashion.
Yeah.
Um, I'll just post videos, but like I also know that if I don't pursue it in aggressive fashion, I'm not gonna do it anymore
Yeah.
because something else is gonna fill that time. I'm gonna feel all the sunk costs of like, what about all these things that I bought and the setup and like the camera and like all these softwares and all this work that I put in. I'm gonna waste it all. I can't waste it all. Tim, I can't waste all this work, right? Like, what about all these friends that I've made? Um, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I have to keep going.
So it's interesting the concept of sunk cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
The um well, I don't want to start over. There's such a fear of like humans, like not individuals, just humanity. There's such a fear of the unknown to the point where um we make shit up all the time to make ourselves feel like we're in control, or make us ourselves feel safe, or
Right.
make it so that we feel like we understand things. We
Mm-hmm.
literally have a reason and a story and a mythology for everything,
Right.
because at least we can believe in something, um, and that's something that's like that about the human condition fascinates me, that we need that so much. It's like, why?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a matter of like, it's not belittling. It's just, what if it just is? What
Well,
if we could just let that be?
I mean, I do think it's like ancestral programming of like in order to survive, you had to know, and so we still have that in us, right? Like we're still that same species of in order to survive, I need to know,
Yeah,
and therefore, if I don't know equals
survival is in flux.
yeah, exactly, and if I don't know, I die. Um, Now it's not that serious, but it could be for some people. Who knows?
Well, but yeah,
Um,
but in like, the concept of social Darwinism, the concept of the survival of the fittest, like society has evolved to this point where, um, I mean, theoretically, like there's enough money and resources that no one should want for anything,
mhm,
but it still exists, right?
yeah,
But there's so like survival of the fittest. You can be, um, you can be media illiterate and survive.
mhm,
You can be um, physically bereft of health and be kept alive and survive. And there's a lot of like, there's not a need to, it's not that serious to better yourself,
right,
and that's like fundamentally going back, human condition, like why are we here? And me being a one, the reformer in me, an Enneagram one, is like, well, what is my potential? And can I max that out? And that's not the way most people see the world.
mhm,
It's just not. And that's okay. But it's an interesting, just like is.
yeah, yeah. I think acceptance is a big thing that people don't like to accept certain realities, so they fight it a lot. And sometimes when you can fight it, you'll feel really bad, really bad, really bad. You'll have mental issues, etc., and eventually you'll think you've won. I've I've started to notice a more common recurring theme of as soon as you accept what is, the battle itself becomes easier.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you don't accept what is, you're fighting two, three different battles at a time. Versus if you accept what it is, you kind of know what you're fighting at that point, and it's just whatever whatever it is you're doing. It's not like you're fighting mentally. I can't accept this.
Yeah. Like
In
it's
reality, I
one
have
less
to
battle you have to fight if
exactly,
you're not fighting yourself.
exactly. I think it's just I think we just can't accept everything. Um, Also, I think sometimes I think like acceptance in self is like can people maybe see it as a trap of if I always accept everything as it is, I'm sheep.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking, I'm not critically thinking, I'm not questioning, etc. And I don't want to
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to
no
lead
way
people I don't
to
want to
go
lead people to
through.
think that that's what acceptance is, but it's more so you can accept things as they are and then continue to question like certain things, right? Like I can accept your political beliefs as they are. And then we can both start to question, well, what do we actually believe? What do you like? Like why do you think that? Like, work me through it. Why do I think what I think, etc. Right? Same thing with like I can accept that. Um, you know, I fucking hate political fantasies, and you love them. And then we can talk about why do we not like them? What do they do for us, etc. We can still question things. Um, but I think we've lost that acceptance
Yeah,
also with social media because it's so easy to like combat anything anybody says.
or just find your own echo chamber and be ignorant to any other side of the conversation you don't want to hear.
Do you think ignorance is the same as acceptance?
I think for some people it is the choice between
Mm,
that. Like, I can either I rather than so like let's use the latter, right? So like escapism, entertainment, connection, um teaching and challenging. To be in a space of people who disagree with you, accept that you have a difference of opinion and have level-headed conversation, that's a connection moment.
mhm.
You might teach me something, I might teach you something, but that requires both parties to have accepted the status quo
Yeah.
of I have this, you have that, and I'm still going to hear you. I want to hear you.
Mhm.
I've accepted that I'm not necessarily going to change your mind, but I'm hoping that you'll hear me. Whereas some people are so afraid of rejection that they will just surround themselves in a echo chamber of like-minded individuals and call comfort, you know, they'll call that comfort. I'm accepted instead of acceptance. They're not
Mhm.
accepting anything. They're just ignoring and denying other realities to keep themselves comfortable. And we've talked
Mhm.
about like where, growth, all growth comes out of necessity, and
Yep.
necessity is uncomfortable. It's
Yep.
it's scary. It's evolutionary, um requires stimulus, and that stimulus is never comfortable. So yeah, I do think that um there's a danger in not being willing to accept because you'll run to comfort, and there's a
Mhm.
danger in accepting everything, because you'll never form your own opinions.
Mhm. What is something that you're trying to make yourself uncomfortable? Or I guess let me rephrase that so it's a less jumbled question. Are there situations that you're putting in now to make yourself uncomfortable in order to grow?
So currently, um, I'm going through a new, different, like, training, like my physical training. I'm going through a different form of new modality, coming in with a beginner mindset, trying to learn something new, that has an entire cultural component to it that is very foreign to me, and that interests me. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say it makes me uncomfortable because I enjoy being in the unknown. I enjoy seeking. So that's kind of like a little load. Like, why did I write an amnesiac story? It's because I'd never read one that I liked.
Mhm.
So I said, well, can I write one that I like?
Right.
So I think I have kind of like um, a masochistic relationship with myself where I'm like, similar to you, like, oh, I'm kind of uncomfortable with being in front of people. Let me have a
Yep.
podcast where I have to talk.
Yep.
But like, so I enjoy that. But it's definitely new. It's outside of the norm. I wouldn't say it's outside of the comfort zone but it's outside of my norm. The new book that I'm writing is first person, single point of view,
Mm.
um,
Ooh.
outside of my comfort zone. Very interesting, but it's definitely very challenging to myself because it's like much more um, philosophical and introspective.
Right.
And there's like a lot of weight to like there's a lot of intellectual and emotional weight that the character carries, which
Mhm.
forces me to explore all of those aspects to be able to
Mhm.
put them into words. So like even the topic of the story itself is uncomfortable and it's challenging and um it's still working through um you know emotionally not no longer raw per se
Mhm.
but like still yeah no there's an emotional rawness to a lot of the subject matter and I do think that like there's the um there's the story of the starving artist but I'd
Right.
say what's a more is like the artist will like that concept is literally you're going to make no money in doing this, congratulations, but I also think that there's something about art where there's you want to tap into this emotional realness. You
Mhm.
have to bear yourself down to be able to put yourself on the page in such a way that someone else can look at this, in a different place in a different time. They can look at dead trees with, weird shapes on them and feel something. So like if I want to work through and be able to communicate through such a weird medium like that, um I need to have put myself through it
Mhm.
to a degree. And I think there's a lot of artists like you starve yourself to know hunger to portray desire.
Right.
And so like there's almost a double meaning to starving artist, but um I think that's uncomfortable. And then like the business side of writing is always uncomfortable for
Yeah.
me. Um it's showing up, it's showing out. There's a local book club that I'm going to be attending. They're all reading A Vengeful Realm, and it'll be interesting to sit there in person with a bunch of people who hopefully they like the book.
Yeah, 'cause yeah, you can't hide behind the camera, right? Like you can't, somebody is saying something and you're like and you're just keeping your face calm, but then your hands underneath the camera are like, oh, or like, or like anything like that. Or you can't really or you just at least you don't want to show those things. You want to be as amicable and inviting as possible, as open as possible. But
Yeah, and
um
like I want people to, and it's like almost and what does this say about me? I'm more worried about them than me. Like, will they feel comfortable being honest if I'm here?
yeah, that's true.
And so anything that they say that could be, congratulatory or, praiseful, will I accept it
Mhm.
because will I believe it's real? So like that's like, is it uncomfortable? No. Is it something I haven't done before? Yes. Um, and then not by my own choosing but my sister's gonna have the first baby of like my family, so um that's I'm going like I have a godson. I have friends who have kids that call me uncle, but like
Mhm.
it's different.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like
You have uncle duties now.
yeah, like and I think of, my life and my relationships and, my family and who was there and who wasn't and why were they there and why weren't they and, where am I on the spectrum? How do I fit into, this
Mhm.
kid's life and what role do I play and what role do I want to play? what role do I wish I had? Like
Yep.
there's um a lot of, once again, I don't know if I'm necessarily putting myself into any of those situations. I'm choosing into the discomfort, but I'm open to um, all of the discomforts that come with them, because I do think that that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Comfort isn't idle. That I think is nice to spend time at, but I don't want to live there.
You know, I've noticed that so much. Like every so often, I'll get into a funk of like I don't want to do anything because my life is really like, or I guess my soul is is very much a 60% of the time I want to do nothing ever, and 40% of the time I want to go, get shit done, achieve goals. And so but then there's times when I want to be when I'm 60% go, 40% I really would not mind it if I could just live at home and do nothing in life ever and just like be a blob. I love physical activity. I also love being quiet and immobile and just like not doing anything. And so I think one of the spurring factors of me starting all these different personal achievement goals was when I graduated, I was living at home in COVID and had my first job. It was remote. I was living with my mom and dad, and so mom and dad were handling like cooking, cleaning, like even laundry to an extent. Um, I just I had my car. I could drive places and go places, but they were handle grocery, like everything, like anything that I would be responsible for that wasn't work or my own personal things. I didn't have to do. So it was like life is way too easy right now. Um, I don't like easy. I'm not used to easy. Even when life has been easier, there have been obstacles or checkpoints or things to like work towards every so often, even if it's a fucking education system and you have a test you have to study for, but there's something that you have to like
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
And it was like I'm not doing anything. I tried to train for American Ninja Warrior. That was really tough, really fun. Never competed because I was like I just understood myself like you're not a competitive person. Um, and but life still just felt too easy. It was just like if I don't do something to get me out of the most extreme comfort zone as I can and try and reinvent myself as a person, like the way life is going right now, it is going to be too easy and you will end up being upset in some way, form,
Mm.
or fashion. You will not be happy. Because I don't, as much as I love doing nothing, like there's days when I wake up in the morning and I go for a walk and I do things in the morning and I inevitably feel better having done things, then gone starting to work, actually worked and not just sat on like with my laptop open watching YouTube on a different monitor, and then done things in the evening. Like accomplishing things gives me happiness. There's times when I'll wake up in the morning and do nothing for 3 hours until I log into work, and I'm like, wow, I feel like complete shit. Um, and I'm like, well, I thought you liked doing nothing, Arish. What happened? And it's like, wow, oh, that's fair. That's
So you feel
intro. You're
guilty
right,
about
Arish.
not being productive.
Exactly. So it's just like it's this, I like to joke about Entro talking to Arish inside because Entro's a personal growth, egotistical, like we got shit to do, let's get after it. Arish is a comfort seeker.
Mm.
Entro's the uncomfort seeker. It took a couple of years for that dichotomy to progress, but I think it's kind of there now. But
Balance is hard to find.
I don't think it's ever gonna be balanced, but I think it's like choosing or knowing like this season, this few months, these few times, balance is going to be like this, and
Hmm.
we just go with it. And the next time it might be balanced like a week or two, and then it go the other way, and you just go with it.
Yeah.
And once again, if you accept it, it makes that battle. It doesn't feel like a battle. It's just like, okay, cool. I'm just working within my current reality, and then
So
when that,
here's a fitness definition that you might
mm,
find interesting. So how would you define stability as it relates to fitness?
well, I've always felt stability as um like feeling sure and certain of like what I'm doing,
Mhm.
like whatever movement is I'm doing, right? Like even if like my wrists are shaking when I'm lifting something up and down, I'm still stable because like I think it's not gonna drop on me. I'm just
Yeah.
shaking because I'm like a little bit like weak in this at this time, or I'm fatigued or whatever. But I'm not unstable. But if I truly don't have any control and like I'm just all over the place, then I'm like then that's unstable.
That is the word, control.
Mm,
Control over motion.
mm-hmm,
So very often when, what is stability, people immediately equate to balance training.
mm-hmm,
And it's like, I don't care if you can stand on one foot and do nothing.
yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's assessments that do that, and it's telling. But like, if that's where stability training ends, it's
mm-hmm,
who cares? But your ability to control motion and like that balancing of the scale. It's not about balance. Isn't about being here and staying here. It's about being able to give and take
yeah,
and have allow for the season to be here and allow for the season to move back into like work and to rest. And I think that give and take is a lifelong practice in the making.
mm-hmm,
It's a really hard thing to achieve, and um you have to be intentional about it. Otherwise, your baser nature, regardless of what it is, you'll do the right things for the wrong reasons.
right. No, that's fair. That's a really good point. Tim, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Hit me.
So this, I promise this is the last one, because I want you to be able to go on that walk and have that quality time. For anybody listening today, what is one advice you'd like to give them?
There are so many doubters, so many disbelievers. You can't be one of them. If you are, you better be doing it to spite yourself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it, so I'm gonna prove myself wrong because like
Mm-hmm.
it's there's there's too many people who um for their own shortcomings will need to for their sake, because once again, going back to the four agreements, it's not personal. Even if it's a personal attack against you, it's not personal. It's not. They don't know you. They think they know you. Their word is not impeccable. They lack integrity. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like assume nothing. Um, but it is up to you to always do your best in all the things that you do, and
Yeah.
you do need to believe in yourself, because other people, because they lack those things, they lack that awareness, they lack that self um assurance or belief in themselves, that they will try to cut you down. If you allow them to, if you lack the belief in yourself, you will succumb to their knives, and that is, you will not reach your potential. And going back to me being a one, tying it full circle back to my Enneagram, I want people to be the best versions of themselves that is possible. And I do believe we're all meant for our own version of greatness, and it looks different for everyone. Our own version of success, it looks different for everyone. It feels different for everyone. But you have to believe it's out there, and you have to move to it. You need to sisu, you need to go
Mm-hmm.
even when you can't see it.
Nice. I love that. I love that, Tim. Where can people find you if they want to follow up with what you do?
Well, if TikTok is where I'm mostly at, but Instagram, I'm also on Instagram. I have a fitness and a um, author account on Instagram. You can always DM me. I feel like I need to stop giving out the TikTok, because who knows what it'll be in a couple months, and it might not be here, and who knows. And
Honestly,
um,
I just I don't know why I focus on it so much, specifically because of that reason. but I hate Instagram so much, like, it just doesn't work for me that I'm like, if it's not TikTok, I'm just gonna keep doing YouTube anyways. That's, like, the main place.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not going anywhere at least,
I'm on
but
all the places. I can give you know what? I can give you my link tree and can put that in the links or whatever.
mhm. We'll do that. We'll put your link tree in the description so people can keep up with you. Tim, thank you so much for joining me today.
All right, thank you, man. Always a pleasure talking.